Hey. It's Thursday, and welcome to Brown Bag Bets, your daily stop for gambling stuff. I don't know what Noops says there. I didn't even prep for that today. God damn it, I forgot. Noops is off. Matt is in. We are
I'm
looking
here.
at a bad weather game in a bad game tonight. Thursday Night Football. Noops was cool enough to drop some first touchdown scores. I think somebody put him in the sheet. I'm going to assume it was him. And
Are we
so
seeing rain? Is it rain tonight? Is that what we're
little
expecting?
rain, little little
Rain,
rain,
wind.
little wind. We'll check it out, and yeah, but we'll bet on a bunch of stuff. I got some golf going. I've been a little busy this morning. Haven't even like watched the golf, which is sad because we're finally in a spot where you can watch golf. Anyone who watches or follows golf knows like it's very hard to actually see golf most of the year.
Yes.
Broadcasting is, and we have featured groups today. So if you have ESPN Plus, you can actually pull up some golf, which I've yet to do. Right now, David Lipsky, who is an Andy guy, ooh, 4 under through 10. He is your solo leader. I had
All
four
right.
outrights. If you watch the golf show on Tuesday, I'm down to three. One, I mean, it's not like I lost money on him. Emiliano Grillo did withdraw before the tournament started, so I should get my money back. So I'm on Andrew Putnam, Matthew Neesmith, and Alexander Noren, the Swede, who is sitting in a million-way tie for second. Oh, it's only a four-way tie for second. So Alexander Noren, I'm putting my faith in you. Let's go. And I always like to check who's doing the worst, and it is Austin Smotherman, somebody I've backed a few times, somebody who led a first and second round a couple weeks ago, and he is 11 over through 13. He apparently is putting with a shovel, I guess. I don't know. I'm going to have to check into that. I might have some daily golf tomorrow. I'm going to have a little bit of time. I've been busier with college basketball and all this NFL, but I think I'm going to get into it. We're going to start with college football, though, because Matt's here and I don't really pay attention. I bet injury news. I bet things people tell me to bet. I've never originated college football play on my own, I don't think. Not all year, at least. I've only bet things that people tell me to bet. So last week, I bet Kansas. And I checked at the end of the day, and they had won
There you
by a
go.
bunch. So Kansas at a pick'em was a winner, 1-0. 1-0 on bets that I actually put some coin on last weekend. And this week, I don't have anything yet. So lay it on me, Matt.
We missed. I hope you caught the boat on my action picks. I'm 13-7 through 2 weeks, going strictly underdogs and overs, with the exception of I took Ohio -1.5 on the road at Miami, Ohio on Tuesday night. That's the only pick that's straight from the system, and it's 13-7. So we're off to a nice start there. We'll take that through 2 weeks. Action is over for the week, so I'm going to take a look at some early lines here, and I know Dan and I will get into a few more of these later on the college football show this afternoon. But a couple that stuck out that I like: over 66.5 in West Virginia at Oklahoma. Double check the weather on this one. I didn't go that far into it to check the weather on Saturday, but as long as there's not some crazy windstorm or rainstorm, I think we should be okay here. Um, Oklahoma, since the loss to Texas, has been scoring at a very high rate. They've got, I think, lowest point total they put up is 27. West Virginia is allowing 34 points a game and scoring 30 plus. Oklahoma's putting up close to 30 plus. I think in the last three, they're averaging closer to 35. So I expect this one to be a Big 12 offensive showdown where you just kind of see teams trading scores. Ever since Dylan Gabriel's gotten back healthy for Oklahoma, that offense looks like it's found something. LSU -3 at Arkansas. This is a line that people were scratching their heads about. I think Vegas sees it as a letdown spot coming off the big win against Alabama. I get that it's probably a letdown spot. I think with the way LSU's playing, though, 3 points is still too little. Arkansas season has really fallen off the rails. They're not nearly they got a little bit of injury issues, and then the loss to Alabama really since that point has kind of derailed their season, where LSU is playing its best football at the best time of the year to be doing that towards the end. Brian Kelly is a very, very good November coach. I think under him, Notre Dame won 16 consecutive November football games. So he really knows how to get his team playing best towards the end of the year. And as Dan said, it's the beginning of deer hunting season in Arkansas on Saturday. So a lot of Arkansas fans might not be in attendance or be hunting deer instead of going to watch their Razorbacks take on LSU. So give me LSU -2. I think they take care of business in that one. Might be a little bit of a sleepy start for them, but really, if you're playing the -3, you're kind of just expecting them to win the game, and I think they'll do that. And then the Notre Dame team total over 26.5 against Navy. Notre Dame's been running the ball really, really well lately. They scored 38 plus in each of their 35 plus, excuse me, in each of their last 3 games. They've really been able to run the football against just about anybody. They did it against Clemson really, really well last week, who's one of the best run-stopping defense, has one of the best defensive lines in the country. They did it against Syracuse even better the week before, who doesn't stop the run all that well. Navy's going to play the run okay, but I think the way Notre Dame's been running the football lately, their offensive line, their size advantage is going to be good for them to score some points.
I agree
My
with
face is
everything
gone
you
again.
just
That's
said.
lovely.
Oh no, it's doing that thing.
I was expecting a Notre Dame joke at some point.
I'm leaving them alone. They've had a weird season. Hey, let's lose to Marshall and beat Clemson. Okay.
It's very, very strange, but as long as they're playing football well at the end of the year and moving towards positive trending toward the end of the year into next year, that's a good thing.
You just got to turn your camera on and off again, Matt. Yeah.
Maybe I will.
Click it off, click it on again. You'll be fine. All right, Falcons-Panthers. The weather looks a lot like Matt's face right now. Kind of nasty. And if you're just listening to this in podcast form, I'm not making fun of his looks. His camera is all screwy. Atlanta, 2.5-point favorite.
Good tip there with the camera. That worked.
3. I used to have this happen to me. I don't know what was going on before. I switched.
It only happens to me. I'm not really sure whether it's
when you're on
this
shitty
location,
Wi-Fi.
I'm in my apartment. Well, it's no matter where I'm at though. It happens in 2 different locations. Whether I have my camera on, or I'm using my FaceTime camera, it seems to happen to me only on OBS. I'm not really sure why. But
OBS is a weird donkey sometimes. But yeah, speaking of 2 donkey teams, like I said, this is 3 some places, 2.5 some others. If you listen to the deep dive last night, Drew and I passed on grass on this one. We said no thanks for the most part. It was like, hey, there's some underdog value. Maybe it's a divisional underdog. Maybe I could bet that at home. It's like, yeah, but it's Carolina. And, Atlanta, it's a short favorite. I guess at 2.5, maybe a little bit of value, but at the same time, I'm not in the business of trying to bet on bad favorites on the road. So that's a little tricky. I know this total is starting to get tickling down. Some people betting into the weather. I understand that move. I get it. I probably won't be involved. I'm going to play some first touchdown scorers. I'm going to play at halftime. I'm going to stay off this. I might look at some props. Kind of pick your receiver. Is one of the chats I'm in talking this morning about which Carolina receiver should we bet the points or the receiving yards over on, because it is a bad secondary, and there should be even with a quarterback like PJ Walker a chance to get.
Is it PJ Walker tonight?
Yeah, it's gonna be PJ Walker. So Thursday night football, PJ Walker. That is something. 81% chance of rain, as Dan put on the screen here, and 25-mile-an-hour gusts. So if you like the under, I'd maybe grab it now. I'm not sure weather like that is going to, entice over money into this market, even with this sketchy secondary from Atlanta.
Atlanta might run the ball like 50 times. I'm not like that. They might just continue run the ball the entire game. I'm not to the extent of the Belichick at the Bills last year, but like if the wind's gusting this much, I'm not saying it's a bad thing either, because they can run the ball pretty well.
Effectively
they run the ball really well. If they get it, I wouldn't be surprised if Arthur Smith is just, we're running the football tonight. We'll throw 8-9 times if we have to, but just we're gonna run. There's 25-mile-an-hour winds. It's raining. We're gonna run. Hold on to the football.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, that's probably the game plan. Not only are they effective on the run, they're effective on the run with numerous running backs. It's not just your starter. You have essentially like 3 running backs you can trot out there. You're not going to break one. Caleb Huntley.
I love watching Cordell Patterson.
Yeah, he's fun. It's fun that he finally figured
It's awesome how he's just gone from kick return to failed receiver to let's try running back. If that worked, then it works.
He was a high pick for Minnesota too. That was in that stretch where Minnesota either, there's like a 10-year stretch, 15, where Minnesota either drafted a Hall of Fame receiver or an absolute bust. It's like, hey, drafted Randy Moss. Yeah, you drafted Troy Williamson though. Hey, we drafted Percy Harvin. Yeah, you drafted Cordell Patterson. Cordero. I always say Corderell. I don't know why. I can't get that out of my head. It's like Saquon. First touchdown.
He was a Bear for 3 years. I still mispronounce his name, even though I heard it every weekend.
Yeah. First touchdown scores, and I'm going to jump right down to this. As we mentioned, Terrace Marshall is a receiver for the Carolina Panthers. Now that they've traded away Robbie off to Arizona, he steps up. He's probably a sneaky start for like DFS. I don't hate him if you're gonna play some standardly. Make captain spot Terrace Marshall, captain spot PJ Walker. So I know I'm giving Dan a hard time because it's Terrence, but I like to say Terrace because it is Terrace. No, this kid, yeah, it's the Marshall. It's the LSU kid, right? Which Jesus Christ
I don't know.
is every young receiver from like the last 3
There's
years
a
just
lot of them from LSU.
well, they're all from like Bama or LSU or Ohio State. That's how you get good in college, kids. It doesn't even matter if you have that good of a quarterback. Just get like five-star wide receivers. You can lose Jamison Williams and still be pretty decent off. But yeah, Marcus Mariota and PJ Walker, both of them are quarterbacks who are going to run. I like the Walker number quite a bit. And then the Drake London number a little low, but they did target him a little more. And these aren't my plays. I'm making arguments for plays that aren't even mine.
This is like when I have to make Noops' tennis picks.
Yeah, but I mean, I get it with the London stuff. He's starting to see some more targets. Marshall, I'm guessing, is going to get some red zone targets as well, just because somebody has to. And then both defenses, yeah, please, in a game that might be gusty, that might be sloppy and wet, give me a touchdown return. So both defenses at 25 and 30 to 1. And I will read these off too if anyone is just not watching and they're listening instead. Marcus Mariota, 14 to 1. Drake London, 14 to 1. Terrace Marshall Jr., 16 to 1. The Falcons defense / special teams, 25. Panthers defense special teams, 30. And PJ Phillip Walker at 40 to 1. First touchdown scorers. That's going into the game. That'll be the bets I have. Maybe a prop. If I have any props, I'll tweet it out. But I'm not great with props. I ride coattails on props, guys. I bet what other people tell me to.
So if it's defense and special teams, and I should probably know the answer to this, but I've never had it happen for me. Like Dante Pettis returns punt for the Bears. If Dante Pettis returns a punt for a touchdown, is it the defensive special teams that cashes, or Dante Pettis cash first touchdown score?
That would punt returns, kick returns, fumble recoveries.
Okay, so you don't get Dante Pettis credit. It's just okay.
A punt is technically a special teams a play, so they do give it to the special teams on that. Although there was a little bit of controversy with one of the books was kind of shitty about that about a month ago, where they listed the defense, and everyone is just so used to defense special teams being lumped together, they thought that was what happened. It was like a kick return touchdown, and one of the books didn't want to honor that. I think they ended up honoring it because it's horse shit, honestly. But
it's special teams. It's one of the few special teams plays in a game.
Yeah. So don't. I don't know. I don't even know which book it was, so I can't like warn you off that. But check your rules. That's just good advice always. Check the rules, read the writing, make sure you know what you're doing, and I love this segue. Let's skate on over to the NHL.
There you go. Let's skate on over to the NHL. Andy, I have a question for you, a statistical question regarding hockey. I think even you could probably answer this. Is allowing 4.5 goals per game good? Do you think that's good?
I mean, in lacrosse, yes.
Well, in hockey, it's not good, and that's exactly what the Columbus Blue Jackets are doing. They're actually allowing closer to 4.6 goals per game, and we're going to hop on the Philadelphia Flyers money line because of it. Noops' Flyers. The one day he's not here, I'm picking the Flyers. Just picture him wearing that Flyers beanie right now. Flyers are off to a very fun start to the season, a surprising start. They're supposed to be one of the league's bottom teams. I think they're 7-3-1, something along the lines of that. They've been a very good team. They played really well defensively. They're scoring just enough to win. They go on the road to a Columbus team that's been a wild disappointment so far after making a big splash, signing Johnny Gaudreau. They haven't played defense. The goaltending's been abysmal. So if you're going to give me plus money on the money line for a Flyers team who's playing really well against a Blue Jackets team that really just cannot keep the puck out of their own net, I'm going to take the Flyers there on the money line. Neither team playing a back-to-back, so no real risk of some tired legs there. Then we're going to go with the Devils team total over 3.5, talking about surprises in the NHL so far. The Devils probably the biggest one. They're off to a 10-3-1 start. They were 10-3-0 start, excuse me. They won 5 in a row. I believe they scored 4+ in 4 of their last 5 games, and they've just been a really efficient hockey team. Senators, similar to the Blue Jackets, they're not quite to that extent, have not been able to keep the puck out of their own net. They've been a very big disappointment after having a splashy offseason. Their goaltending's been really, really bad. So we're going to take the Devils at home against a very struggling Senators team to light the lamp quite a few times.
I'm all about the Phillies. I like betting against a
The
team more
Flyers.
than the Flyers. Whatever. We'll call them the Ice Phillies. Flyers is a dumb name. Honestly, Phillies is a dumb name. What the hell is a Philly?
Why is
It's just
Flyers?
like
Flyers not a terrible name.
I don't know. I just have
It's not a great name. It's not a terrible name.
I don't like Dayton. And that's my segue to college basketball because I did bet against Dayton quite a bit.
You're crushing it with the segues today.
Yeah, I did bet against Dayton quite a bit 2 years ago for some reason. Sometimes I have bet on teams. Sometimes I have bet against teams. That's what I was kind of getting with the Phillies. Like Flyers, I like betting against a team more than I like betting on a team sometimes. And both of these are probably just bet on spots. A couple of underdogs. Weird. That's what I do, guys. I bet underdogs for the most part. That's where I'm finding value. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Early season stuff is hit and miss. I had a plus 5.5. I didn't get it till by the time I bet it, it was 5 last night. And then it got bet down to 3.5. There was some buyback. And you know what? My underdog was down by 2 with the ball with like a minute left, which is a recipe to lose by 6, I guess, apparently. I didn't watch the game. But yeah, loser last night. That one hurt. I'm a sicko, so I actually went back and looked at the play-by-play. I'm like, oh no, they were well within the number with the ball. So that stinks. I guess make your foul shots, kids. I'm going to have to adjust some things on that team if they're going to shoot free throws like that. But tonight, a couple of underdogs again. Your Southern Illinois Salukis. Great mascot, first of all. And this is Brian Mullins. Is this their coach? Missouri Valley Conference team. I'm probably going to back. It's tough to take anything that some of these teams have done this year yet. Like I talked about San Diego last night. They'd played a team in like Sonoma State. It's you can't take much from that because it's not a team that really matters. It's not a team that is Division One. This team did play a D1 team, but they played a really low end Ohio Valley team in Little Rock, beat the absolute tar out of them. I like the offensive efficiency numbers. I think they're going to be able to play well here. I think this is a closer game than people think. And Oklahoma State, while they were a good team, they did lose some pieces from a absolute lockdown defense last year. I don't know that this defense is going to be it's going to be good. It's going to be a great defense. It's going to be a good Big 12 defense. I don't think it's like a top 5 defense like we saw last year. I have them downgraded a little off the priors. So I make this closer to 6. So Southern Illinois plus 8.5 is a move. And yeah, that's the thing too. It's so hard this point of the year. Last night was a great example. Both of those teams crushed it in the portal. Between Florida, Gulf Coast, and San Diego. They both crushed it on getting transfers in, and it makes it hard to figure out what these teams are going to be. But they did lose some key defenders last year for the Cowboys of Stillwater, which was an okay movie if you like Matt Damon. I didn't care for it. And then the other one is Vermont. Same situation as we saw yesterday with Florida Gulf Coast, a small town, just like the Bob Seger song, Hollywood Nights, just small town
Great
kid.
song.
Small town kid heads out to the West Coast, tries to make it. Vermont is on a 2-game stretch where they'll take on USC as well, but they're going to start tonight as plus 8 underdogs to West Coast Conference bridesmaid St. Mary's, constantly in the tournament, never for winning their conference because unfortunately they're in a mid-major conference that has a major team in it. Still a very good team. I do have them downgraded a little from where they were last year. I'm not saying like St. Mary's is a bad team again, but if you can get me on the other side of, there's not really key numbers in basketball, but like once you get past that couple of possessions, 6, 7, 8, get me on the other side of 7 and 8. Like I make these games a lot closer than that. St. Mary's is probably a tournament team. They're going to be good, but I have Vermont as a slow. I love a slow plotting team. Like that's kind of their style. Go look at this total. It's like 130. 135, somewhere in there, a slow plotting team with good defensive metrics. That's the kind of team that travels, and I'm very keen on this number as well. This is another one I make like 5 or 6. So getting an 8 here feels good. And yeah, this is Patrick points out St. Mary's does get random Australians. They do a good job of recruiting.
They
I
do.
think we'll see how they end up this year. There's some metrics that have them out of the tournament. They would have them, clearly 5-10 spots out of the bubble realm. I think they can probably do better than that. But right now, I'm taking the Catamounts +8 as a long distance road dog here.
I was gonna say that's a long flight. I said they're staying out there for a couple of games, but that flight home from Southern California, if they're going to play USC back to Vermont, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I'm leery of this sometimes, but we just saw and Florida Gulf Coast could have won last night. That was a close game at the end. It was tough luck for me, but they went out and beat USC and then almost beat San Diego. So I don't know. Teams are just better at adjusting to travel. It seems like nowadays.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, a program like this never would have gone to California back in the day. They would have to take a damn train. They couldn't afford a flight. So regardless, if you want those plays earlier, follow me on the BetSperts app. It's just Andy, Andy. I put all my plays in there. I will always put all my picks in there. If I add anything, I'll add them there. I don't foresee myself adding anything. It's not a big slate. There's not a whole lot going on, and there's still a bunch of these games where teams are playing Division II, Division III games, so there's no lines for parts of the slate every single night. You're going to have that for a while we're in the non-conference, but excited the college hoops are back, looking for a 2-0 night. Appreciate Matt coming on, giving us some football and hockey. Thanks to you in the chat for hitting the thumbs up. See, it was the presumptive sale. Now you're like, oh shit, I didn't hit the thumbs up. I feel bad. So do it. Subscribe, rate, review, and we'll catch you on the flip side tomorrow.